Welcome to BP Leadership Podcast, where real leaders are made. I'm your host, Bill Purvis, and today's episode is part 3 of our conversation with Officers Bill and Dawn Tooney in our series called Back the Blue. This is going to be an exciting time. They've been in law enforcement over 30 years. Bill's been a part of the SWAT team, got a lot of extensive experience there and some very life and death situations. And Dawn has been a hostage negotiator, so this couple has a lot to bring to the table. They're going to talk today about some of the kinds of situations they get, some of the calls that they receive that they absolutely dread having to go into, but somebody's got to do it. They're also going to tell you about the extensive training that both male and female officers have to go through that the public's not always aware of, and then what it's like being even a parent when both your parents are police officers. What would it be like doing that to your children or you having to parent your child? So all of this is going to be good information from dear friends, Bill and Dawn Tooney. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get started. Now let me ask you this. If you were driving down the road in a police car and you saw your mama and she was speeding, what would you do?
Pull her over.
Oh, yeah. She should know better. Matter of fact, I'm going to give her 2 tickets because you should know better.
Nah, I'd pull her over and definitely give her a warning. Mama, slow down. So I definitely would do my kids. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's that's funny. Now, what do police officers need or want most? I mean, if they were, is it just a lot of it? I think would be respect. You know, just show respect. But what is it makes it easier if you're having to have an interaction with a police officer and maybe you're in trouble, maybe you did something wrong? What's the best way to deal with it? Just be honest and upfront.
Yeah.
Don't
Honest
try to snow them.
Yeah, and don't, of course, the running joke is, well, how you know they're lying? Well, because their lips are moving.
Yeah.
As an officer, you understand that, okay, he's going to lie or do whatever, to try to get out of whatever trouble he's in.
Mm-hmm.
But, just man up and say, I don't know.
That would be for me. Respect and honesty for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
And don't think that we're out there just because we're after you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm either here because I got called here.
Yeah.
Or, I didn't decide to pick on you today. Just I'm here because of my job. And that's it. It's a job for us. Mm-hmm. It's a job we got to do. And it ain't nothing personal.
It's nothing personal.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a job. It's nothing personal in it. So don't take it personal.
Reminds me like that movie, The Fugitive, when Tommy Lee Jones was the chasing officer there, and Harrison there, Ford, was standing there about to look down, and he said, "I didn't kill my wife," and he said, "I don't care."
Yeah.
And he just said, "It's not my job."
Yeah, it's a job.
My job is just to bring you in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
it.
Yeah.
That would be the thing. Now let me ask you this. Is there a situation that when you get the phone call, you say, I dread dealing with this? I mean, like if it's, a robbery, domestic violence, some other, what are those things that you just say, I hate dealing with that? That's just takes more out of me.
To me, it was domestic violence.
Uh-huh.
That really, like I said, I was only in patrol about 2 years. Mm-hmm. And back then, they handled domestic violence a whole lot different than they do now. I was glad when I left patrol because those are the calls I hated.
Yeah.
Going there, you look at it, you go up there and say, look, 2 grown adults.
Yeah.
Y'all can't figure out what your problem is. One of y'all need to leave till you just leave until you can calm down, whatever. Act like adults. You got kids over here. They act more mature than you and whatever. But I used to hate those calls. Yeah. And then when I wound up moving out of the drug unit the first time, I went to to the domestic violence unit. And I was like, oh, you kidding me?
No, so you have to go to calls like that all the time.
Well, actually, I was a detective, so the patrol would go out there, and they'd do what they needed to do, and they'd forward a report up to me, and then I'd do a follow-up. And actually being in that unit, that was a tough unit because you do have true victims out there in domestic violence situations. Yeah. And, I can go into as far as all the stuff that's involved in it, and there are true victims out there.
Yeah.
And you try to help them. as best you can. So,
but that's what makes it so hard. And I think that's what you were trying to get at. Sometimes it's so hard to work on the true victims when you've got 5,000 other domestic violence calls that come in that are not domestic violence calls.
Okay.
But we have to go service them anyway.
So it's just an argument or something.
And it's the same people.
Yeah.
Over and over,
so
and
they
that
can call
gets
you
tiring.
as often as they want, just to come,
and we have to, and we will respond.
You have to respond.
Yeah, we will respond, and that's what makes it hard for the real victims.
Yeah,
because you got to weed through all that.
Yeah,
that junk before you find that real victim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you don't really arrest them unless there's been like an attack or something like that, right?
Or a crime that's been committed.
You got a crime with and it's. And a lot of times, those domestic violence calls are sometimes the most dangerous calls you can go on as a patrol officer.
Yeah, I'd heard something like that. Why is that?
Yes, sir.
Well, because there's a lot of there's physical abuse and psychological abuse that goes on. Husband beating on the wife. I mean, he beats the brakes off of her. Neighbor calls. She didn't call, but neighbor calls. Yeah. You get there, and so you're there, and you make the determination. He's a primary aggressor, so you go to, put him, arrest him. She gets upset because now you're putting him in jail. Well, he's the only one making money,
right?
Bringing money home and that's the psychological part of it. And then she attacks you.
Yeah.
So or other family members there attack you, but those are pretty bad calls you can go on.
In their
sometimes.
case, I guess they just think we were just arguing and you can leave us alone.
Yeah.
So
we didn't call the police. Neighbors did. And you're sitting there looking, she got a big old black eye and bleeding and everything. And I've seen calls like that.
Yeah.
You're going, why are you still in a relationship? And that's part of the psychological thing. There's a whole gamut with dealing with domestic violence. As far as the what do you call that? The honeymoon phase and the tension building phase, and then what I call the butt whooping phase, and then it goes back to the honeymoon phase, and it's a mess.
I could see, just because I've had through the years experiences where women were in situations and they wouldn't tell their father, their brother. Yeah. They'd tell me, like, this is in confidence. And I would tell them, now listen, if there's physical abuse, I'm going, by law, I'm going to call the police. Yeah. So don't tell me this if you don't expect me to act on it. And sometimes they'd get quiet, and sometimes they'd tell me, but that it would be years, 10 and 20 years with somebody. It never got better. Yeah. And I guess in their mind, they thought they loved that person. It's a psychological thing,
yeah. And the thing, too, is if you grow up in that household, think it's a normal thing. Yeah. You got a little boy and a little girl. Well, a little boy sees daddy whooping on mama. Yep. Little boy thinks that's how it's supposed to be done, and it's not. That's a bad
situation.
Bad situation. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be that's the thing that I think that behind where y'all come from and what you do. I know every day you that phone. I know you're glad to see each other at the end of the day. Okay, we've made it. I think people don't realize, though, just about your profession, how that every single day it's the life on the line. Mm-hmm. It's not like I go over there and do a job, get to come home and be at peace. Yeah. It's everywhere and every day.
Yeah, with her, I worry about her, but I don't worry to the point where it's, where I can't function because, I can't do that. But, I know she can handle herself. Mm-hmm. I pity somebody who wants to get after her, but she can handle herself. But still, there's always somebody out there bigger and badder than you are. But I worry about her. But I figure,
put in God's hands.
Yeah,
hey, I've got the armor on me. I'm okay.
Because otherwise you would think, I don't mean to bad or even profiling, but you'd think if I'm a female and I pull over a car with 4 or 5 males in there that are out of control. You think in their mind, they're thinking, well, I can handle this.
And they are. Yeah. They are. Yeah. But luckily, the females now, I mean, when we train exactly like they train. Yeah. Yeah. And if we can't handle it on the training phase, then we're not going to get on it on the street side.
That's good.
Because the people out there, they're sizing you up.
Yeah.
They love to see a female come up because they automatically think she can't do it.
That's right.
She can't do it.
Yeah. So that is good that you're at least you had to qualify to get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that I can hold my own. You almost wish you could pull out of the car and shoot a warning shot in the air.
They used to do that.
And say, I'm coming. Did they?
Barney Pfeiffer didn't he?
Back in old school, they used to be able to do that. Now,
no.
You don't.
Yeah, you would think that would work.
No, because then you got everybody out here pulling their own guns, and then you got the OK Corral. So.
I know. Gosh, that's but the. Now, let me ask this. Both of you, your parents, and you have done great jobs with the kids.
Thank you.
I'm not kidding. You couldn't ask for better. And what's that like? Is that knowing how dangerous it is out there, does that make you a little more of a helicopter parent? Does it make you do you get a chance to just talk to your children and say, listen, here's what's out there? How does it feel being a parent and a policeman in this world?
Yeah.
I have been accused, and I have to own up to it. My boys reminded me on several occasions, Mom, I'm not the suspects on the street. Don't treat me like a suspect on the street.
Right.
And, sometimes you tend to forget that, only because it's your child and you want the best for them. So.
So when you do background checks on your kid, who you do your kids date
where were you last night?
That's right. You want to date my kid? I want a fingerprint.
There you go.
Just short of... Yeah, I don't know.
But it should. I can see it.
Yeah,
I could see it.
And you want to, you want to make sure your kids are hanging around the right people. And it's of course, it's like what you say, pastors' kids and cops' kids.
That's right. All eyes are on them.
Yeah, there was time we got called at 2 o'clock in the morning with the boys like. Then it wasn't really nothing. They were somewhere they shouldn't have been smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get there and it's just.
I know.
But Taylor, I gotta tell you, can I say her name?
Yeah.
She's
awesome.
She's awesome.
We have been so
blessed. We have been blessed.
The other two, like I heard you say one time, one of your messages about. You understand when the kids reach the teenage years, you understand why in the wild their mama eats her young. First two is like that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean you couldn't ask for any better because both of them are in the military. They're now. Doing
That's right.
Great.
Yeah. But growing up in your family, they'll as they get older, they will really appreciate it.
Yeah.
When they're younger, they probably my kids didn't as much when they were younger, and you'd get those calls. Same thing. I remember one time. Somebody called me and said that my boys were at a party and how wild they were. And my boys were sitting on the couch with me. We were watching a football game. I said, are you sure? Yeah, I swear. They told me the preacher's boys. And I said, mine are sitting right here. And then he called me back later. Oh, that was that other preacher.
Oh, no.
Might have ruined my reputation.
Yeah.
But you know what? Crazy. You're right about that because we had one of our boys and boys are going to put you through it. Yeah. But we had one of our boys, after he grew up, come back to Bill and tell Bill that he appreciated everything he did.
Yeah.
Because as an adult, he realizes now,
That's right.
Yeah.
And that was a blessing to hear your child tell you, thank you.
That would be. That's right.
That was great.
That's the good thing about it, though, being a parent like that, when you've seen so much, they can't BS you,
Yeah.
I mean, the kid can be talking to you.
They had a hard time. They did.
Sell that to somebody else. But one is I'm your parent, and second I'm a policeman. So you don't have any wiggle room there.
Yeah.
And not just one parent, a cop, both.
I know. Y'all could do this so easy with your kids. I can see it now, the good cop, bad cop thing.
It works.
Y'all come in and out of the room.
It works.
Right. Yeah, we're going to get this out.
Those poor kids.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm so glad that you guys stuck around for part 3 of our conversation with Bill and Dawn Tuning here on the Back the Blue series on the BP Leadership Podcast. And part 4 is the final part of this conversation, and it does not disappoint. It ends with the coolest story about how they were both on a foot chase, chasing after the same guy who was running from the cops. And now Bill was sprinting down the road in his cowboy boots trying to catch him, and Dawn was sprinting in her car, come flying up trying to get him. It is just the coolest story, and I promise you have got to listen to that podcast all the way to the end so you can hear that crazy, crazy story about that incident. So make sure that you stay tuned and get ready. Hit the subscribe button if you're on a podcast platform. Hit the bell if you're on YouTube so that you get notified as soon as part 4 airs. I promise you've got to listen to it as soon as it releases. It is just that good. Also, for those of you that do not know, each and every month, Bill shares live leadership lessons with a group of people here in the Columbus, Georgia area. But not only that, he records those lessons and offers them online on our website, BP Leadership. Let me tell you, these lessons are chock full of absolute leadership gold. They are so good. And you have the opportunity to sign up and become a member of BP Leadership and get access to nearly 20 years of leadership lessons. Our archives are full. Bill has helped personally train and mentor thousands of leaders around the world over the last 20, 30 years, and the lessons that he shares are absolutely worth your time. I promise you. Just check it out. And it is only $9.99 a month. That's it. $9.99 a month. That's the cost of like one Chick-fil-A meal per month. Make sure you check it out. It is worth your time. All you got to do is go to bpleadership.com and hit the sign up button. I promise, you will not regret it. So make sure that you check it out. All right, well, I'm so glad you guys tuned in. Thank you for joining us. And remember, as always, that this is where real leaders are made. We'll see y'all next time.